And my very first game in varsity football, my junior year, I broke my ankle and missed much of that season. And I remember, telling my dad that now I won't be able to play college football, and kind of complaining and blaming the Lord that He would allow this to happen.
Blaming the Lord.
Yeah, those early in your Christian walk when you're immature.
So we know about the awesome man of God who Kirk Cousins is, but where did it start? When did you accept the Lord?
Well, my dad being a pastor, I was presented with the gospel at a very young age. So I don't know the specific age, but I remember being at church before the service started, and my dad explained to me the gospel, to me and my brother. I was probably 7 years old. And I remember saying, I want that. I want Jesus to come into my life, pay for my sins, accept that I'm a sinner, and I want a relationship with Him for eternity. And so I prayed that prayer that day. But when you're 7 or 8 years old, you can only understand so much of what that actually means. And so I remember being in high school. I had a teacher who challenged me with a verse from the New Testament, 1 John 2:6, which says, "Those who claim to be in Him, who claim to be in Jesus, must walk as He walked." And I realized, does my walk, does my life look like that of Jesus, the rabbi? And so it was at that point I said, I'm going to make a commitment here to not just be a fan of Jesus, but to be a follower, to be a disciple. And if that costs me something, then that costs me something. But my life, I'm going to put a stake in the ground, is going to be built on the rock and not on sand, and built on the truth of God's word. And so it's probably in high school when I really made that commitment. And by God's grace, since then, have not wavered.
That's still pretty significant because being a high school star, multiple sports indeed is that, all the kids are yelling and screaming at you. They're putting you up on a platform. The ladies certainly want to be with the high school quarterback or the basketball player. How did you navigate those waters to put the stake in the ground, as you indicated, that it became real to you?
Yeah, I remember my very first game playing varsity football. I mean, this was my dream, right? The dream was to play in the Big Ten and play college football. Never really even thought about the pros being an option, but varsity football I knew was more of a realistic goal. And my very first game in varsity football, my junior year, I broke my ankle and missed much of that season. And I remember, telling my dad that now I won't be able to play college football, and kind of complaining and blaming the Lord that He would allow this to happen.
Blaming the Lord.
Yeah, those early in your Christian walk when you're immature. And my dad said, "Kirk, you don't know what the Lord has planned. He's so much bigger than a broken ankle. You got to remember the truth of His word, Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your steps." And so at that moment, I said, I'm gonna take that verse to heart and believe it, and let the Lord direct my steps. And it'll be my job to trust Him and to obey Him, and we'll see where He takes this thing. Well, looking back now, 15 years, He's taken it, so much farther, and He is a lot bigger than a broken ankle.
I was also very impressed in your book, Game Changer, which really is a pretty significant book for a young guy, a young person, period, to be writing. You talked about how, I believe your dad, Pastor Don, mom as well too, I'm sure, that there were 3 significant decisions to be made. I call them the 3 M's.
Yeah.
Share that, please.
Yeah, master, mission, and mate. First of all, who's going to be the master of your life? And as I said, at 7 or 8 years old, I prayed that prayer. And then in high school, I made that decision that I'm going to build my life on the gospel, the good news that Jesus Christ died for my sins, and the truth of His word is what I'm going to build my life on. And then, your mate, who you're going to marry, who you're going to do life with, ultimately. It's so important that you're equally yoked. And so my wife, Julie, is a believer and comes from a great family, great stock. And so that's been a true blessing. When you see the way God intended marriage to be, it's been a really blessed thing for both of us. And then your mission. What's going to be your passion in life when you get up in the morning? What are you going to devote your hands to? What are the giftings that God has given you? And then how can you use those giftings to bless others? And for the time being, it's been pretty clear that the Lord has given me an ability to throw a football. He's given me an ability to play quarterback with some other traits that are involved in that. And so until He tells me otherwise, I'm going to keep trying to develop this quarterbacking skill and then use that platform that He's given me as a result of playing football to hopefully point people to Him.